it seems like I'm making more money from YouTube than YouTube tells me I'm making. For instance, 2 paychecks ago, YouTube said I would be making about $145. But when I got my paycheck, it was over $200. I don't understand why that is. It's quite nice. I'm eating some licorice. I need to write more notes at work. So I work at a resort as a front desk agent in people's reservations on the computer. You can write notes that your coworkers can read to better understand what types of things rather are happening with people's reservations. An example would be a note that says looking for early check-in. The morning person, front desk agent, could read that note and note to inform housekeeping that the individual would be needing an early check-in. Then the housekeepers can clean the room sooner than later, giving that person an early check-in. Not sure if I should buy a new laptop or not. Might need a new laptop for traveling, but that's all I would use it for. I have a computer already that works just fine, but it is an Apple iMac. And it would be difficult to bring this on a jet with me because it's so big. I don't want to do that. I have an idea. What I could do is go to the hotel on my vacation and try logging onto their internet with my phone, my smartphone. From there I could see if the internet would be fast enough. If the internet would be fast, it would make sense to buy a laptop so I could browse the internet. If the internet wasn't fast, I could just play on my phone to pass the time. I forgot to turn up the volume in my latest video. Sorry about that. It's quiet. I was trying this thing where I would place the microphone away from my mouth so it wouldn't pick up the closest harsh wind sounds from letters with pause sounds. Words with pause sounds like they start with P. I still have to do a collaboration with a YouTuber. I told the guy that I would collaborate with him, and I told him that a while back, and I've done absolutely nothing about it. So recently, my family and I, got 2 cords of firewood delivered to our house. We had to carry it to the place we wanted to stack it and stack it up. It was hard work, but we got it done in only about an hour and a half. Then it was done. This licorice is so good, by the way. I recently messed up importing an ASMR video from my camera onto Final Cut Pro on my computer. Final Cut Pro is the editing software that I use. It feels like I'm not looking into the camera, but I unplugged my camera's USB cable from my computer without first ejecting it properly, and that screwed up the file, making it have no sound. But luckily I did find a way to fix it. I plugged in my camera again to my computer and went into Finder on my computer. My computer is an Apple iMac. From there I found the folder on my computer that had my camera's videos on it. I dragged and dropped the video onto my computer's desktop. Then I imported the file from my desktop to Final Cut Pro. And after that, everything was okay. I was really glad that it worked. I thought I would have to redo the entire video. The video was over 29 minutes long, so that sounded terrible to have to do all that work again. For some reason, my microphone isn't picking up those horrible plosive sounds anymore, or at least not as much as before. I don't know why it stopped doing that, but it's great. We have new shifts at work now, 4 p.m. till 12 at midnight. It's because we don't have a house person on from 10 till 12. So the front desk agent acts as a house person, delivering fresh towels and other supplies to guests in chalets or guest rooms. I'm thinking about making new videos from my old scripts. So in previous videos, I wrote scripts and read the scripts while whispering. I'm thinking that I could read those scripts on video again, but this time not whispering, I'll do soft speaking. Another thing I could do is use one script for 2 videos, but in one video I'll eat licorice, and in the other video I'll do hard candy. Excuse me. Doing this would make it so I could make many more videos, making me money, and you might like it too. Excuse me 1 sec, I'm just typing something. I need to buy nostril clippers. I'm thinking of getting I'm getting tired of this nostril hair that sticks out of my nose. It doesn't make me look presentable at work. I constantly deal with the public at work, so I should look presentable. I watched a YouTube video recently. In that video, a woman says that watch time is much more important than watch percentage when it comes to YouTube recommending your videos. And to get watch time, it's a good idea to make longer videos. I think she's right. For example, I have a video that's over an hour long. It's a video where I eat pizza. You may have seen it already. In that video, I have an average watch time of 15 minutes. YouTube is getting me impressions at 77.1% on that video. It says 77.1% of impressions are from YouTube recommending your content, like my content. And the average view percentage is only 23.1%. An impression is when someone sees your thumbnail and the title of your video. Thumbnail being the picture next to the title that is supposed to represent the video. Then I have another video where the average view percentage is But that video is only giving me impressions at 54.5% because the average watch time for that video is only 7 minutes and 30 seconds. You might say, Matthew, don't forget about click-through rate. That's a factor too. Actually, the video that has the lower watch time has a click-through rate of 7.6%. And the pizza eating video has an impression of under 7%. Sorry, I mean click-through rate of under 7%. Click-through rate is the percentage of individuals who see an impression of your video and click on the video. I can't really blame YouTube's algorithm for each of my videos not getting hundreds of thousands of views. Excuse me, I'm gonna drink some water. Maybe you like those gulping sounds. Some people get tingles from that, I think, but Google's dictionary defines algorithm as a process or set of rules to be followed in calculations or other problem-solving operations, especially by a computer. A recent video of mine got 56,000 impressions. Over 56,000 actually. So they're showing my video to a lot of people, but a lot of people aren't choosing to watch the video. That's okay though. My channel is growing at a decent rate. I started having saunas again now that the weather is cold. Excuse me. There are some good things about the winter. 1, there's no bugs. 2, saunas. 3, wood stoves. Now, you know, the nice heat from the wood stove is very nice. Now I'll talk about some of the jobs I've had in the past. I worked as a dishwasher at a restaurant, at a golf course. I wasn't very good at my job. Sometimes chefs would give me orders and I would just look at them like a deer in the headlights, not responding or taking action. I also wasn't fast at washing dishes. I biked quite far to work every day. I worked at an ice cream shop as well. I got free ice cream and pop. That was nice. I worked at a park cleaning campsites. They gave me and my coworker a golf cart to drive around from campsite to campsite. We used to go down this rough trail with a golf cart and we would make it bounce on the bumps. It was fun. We also took the golf cart to a nearby lake and I jumped in the water, and we did this while working and getting paid. Even though we've messed around a lot, we were still good at our jobs. Me and my partner, we worked well together and we became good friends. We are still friends now, and that was like 8 years ago or something like that. The only bad part of the job was that we had to help the cleaning crew clean. At first, a cleaner got sick, so we were told to help the cleaners because they were understaffed. But I think the cleaning crew started to get used to us helping them and started to like it, so they asked us to clean pretty often. And we pretty much had to say yes. They had authority over us. fun job, trust me. If you find that job fun, I applaud you. It probably means that you're quite a positive person. I worked at a call center, an outbound one. That means we would call people. There was a website that would help people find jobs. One of the boxes people would have to check off to use the website would make it so they were agreeing for us to call them. So we would call the people and try to get them to agree for a salesperson from a school to call them about enrolling in school. So we would call someone and say something like, "Are you interested in going to school?" And we would be reading off a script, basically. If they said no, we had a paper that they gave us that had a rebuttal for any point they could make, pretty much. Like if they said they didn't have time for school, we would say you can study part-time online at your own pace. If they said they didn't have enough money for school, we would tell them that we could hook them up with a counselor who would help them get a student loan. So if they worked with us, we would figure out what they wanted to study and figure out the school that had programs that they would like to study. And again, we would get a counselor from that school to contact them. From there, of course, the counselor would try to get them to enroll in the school. So a lot of people just wanted to find jobs and they didn't want to hear about school programs, so we annoyed a lot of people. But I didn't work there for long. I remember when I was still in training, and before I get into this, I'll mention that there was a training room and 2 rooms where people were doing their job, calling people as normal. If you performed well enough during training, they would move you onto one of the other rooms. Some people never made it out of the training room. So one day, when I was still in training, I took the wrong bus and ended up somewhere that I shouldn't have gone, so I got to work late. But then, when I got to work, I started making quite a few sales, even though I was late, and of course had less time to make the sales. I made commission, so if you make a certain amount of sales, you will make $10 commission, and if you make a certain higher number of sales, you will make like $25 commission. Excuse me. And there are more tiers, and the highest one is $100, I think. After the day was done, a supervisor made an announcement about how good it was that I was able to make so many sales, and that I made $10 commission. Most of the people in trading wouldn't make commission. Soon after that, I got moved to one of the other rooms, and I started struggling. Excuse me. The thing is, this business doesn't make any sales unless an employee calls a customer and makes a sale over the phone. It's not like a car dealership where someone might just walk right in and buy a car. And the car dealership can rely on at least having some of that type of income. I know that car dealerships mostly rely on salespersons, but yeah. said that I was making 300 calls a day. So, and he said that's ridiculous. And but he also said that I wasn't selling enough. Then I was going to get sent home one day as a punishment for not selling enough. I don't know what I was doing wrong, really. You have to be a really good talker to do that job, I guess. After that, I worked at an inbound call center. Meaning that people would call us an inbound call center. I was working with Sephora. Sephora is a chain of makeup stores, in case you didn't know. It's all high-end makeup. I was working for the online store of Sephora. So when people would call us, it was usually because something went wrong, or they thought something went wrong with their order. Sometimes they would receive broken makeup. Sometimes they would want to transfer the points that they earned as Sephora customers from one account to the other. The customers had different levels they could reach depending on how much they spent. The top level was called Rouge, and sometimes the customer would make a lot of demands that might seem unreasonable, but we had to give them what they wanted just because they were Rouge. I enjoyed some parts of the job, but other parts of the job I didn't enjoy. I like dealing with nice people who appreciated the help I was giving them. It felt good to do good calls when I knew what I was doing and things were going well. I got a lot of angry individuals on the phone, unfortunately. Sometimes they would have received packages from Sephora where some items were missing and some items were broken. I quit that job because my pay was about to get decreased. It wasn't a punishment, but they had this strategy of hiring a lot of people, and they would pay the new employees $15 an hour for training. And if you did well, in training afterwards, they would keep you. They wouldn't offer those jobs to those employees who didn't perform well. And if they kept you, they would offer you $12 an hour. So I had another job lined up at a restaurant where I would make way more money than that. Plus I could live with my parents and pay no rent or utilities. The call center was about a 3-hour drive away from my parents' place, so it's not like I could work there and live with my parents. I worked at a ski resort. At the ski resort, I worked in the cafeteria. In exchange for working there, I got staff housing and a free season ski pass. The staff housing was decent and cheap. I had so much fun skiing. Sometimes I would smoke weed and go skiing at that job, but I don't recommend doing that because it's kind of dangerous. At that job, I always felt like you had 12 things to do because there was always prep work to do. For instance, we had to cut peppers, onions, make sauce for the Thai green curry. We would give out serve, I should say. I couldn't think of that word. Now we get to shave roast beef. It was stressful sometimes because of how busy we would get. But the positive part about it is that I think it upped my work ethic, because when I worked at the ski resort, I got a lot done, because if I didn't get a lot of prep work done, I wouldn't be prepared to cook in the busy period, because I wouldn't have enough ingredients to cook with. After the winter, I came back home and started working at another restaurant. Soon after that, I got a raise. I think I kept my work ethic that I learned working at the ski resort. To be honest though, when I was working at this ski resort, I wasn't that great of a cook. I was good at prepping for the most part, but I wasn't good at staying organized while cooking, and cooking a lot of items while I was busy. I'm not going to talk about every job I've had because it might get a little boring, as I don't have many things to talk about for all of the jobs that I've had. Then I have my teaching career. So I took a certificate in teaching English as a second language for my certificate. I did my practicum at a university in Canada. If you don't know, a practicum is when you're going to school and your school sends you to work in the field that you're studying. I think most times you wouldn't get paid for the practicum. You had to first observe a teacher, teach her class so we could learn from her. So I was dumb and I forgot to go to my first observation. I could tell the teacher I was working for was upset about that. So I was off to a terrible start, but I basically did everything right after that, I think. And my teacher started to like me, it seems. After my practicum was over, my teacher asked me, "Have you thought about applying here?" I was thinking, God, no, I haven't thought of applying to teach at the university. I had hardly thought I would be qualified for that, seeing as how I have no teaching experience other than doing my practicum, which was only like, I forget how long, maybe like 3 weeks long. But soon after that, I applied to the university for a job as an English instructor. I got rejected, but soon after that, they put up another job posting for an English instructor. So I applied for it and got it. I was struggling so much in that job. My printer was at a home in my parents' house. I wasn't living at my parents' house. I was living 3 hours away in a city. I had so much work to prepare that I thought I shouldn't drive 3 hours to my parents' house and 3 hours back for a total of 6 hours, because that would take away from the time I have to prepare for my classes. So at like 8 a.m. I would wait in front of the doors of the library of the university and wait for the doors to open so I could rush in there and print off my worksheets for my students. Sometimes I would use all the paper to go and get one of the employees at the library to fill the printers back up with paper. I'm going to be chewing some gum now. As far as the stuff that I had to teach my students, some of the topics were very difficult for me to understand. I would stay up until like 3 in the morning making my lesson plan and trying my best to understand a certain grammar point or whatever. Eventually I would get it, but it would be like 4 in the morning. I was working with very little sleep, and it was affecting my ability to teach well. I did enjoy teaching most times, but again, I was struggling to prepare. I even cut some corners in my job to save time. I didn't read some of the books that I was supposed to read to prepare for my classes. It was a bad thing to do, I know. I regret it. Then I had an observation where one of the senior instructors would watch me teach one of my classes and assess my strengths and weaknesses. I had prepared a PowerPoint presentation for my class. I couldn't get the PowerPoint presentation to work in my class, so I was struggling and had to teach out of the textbook instead, and I wasn't prepared to do that. As a result, some of my explanations were unclear. The senior teacher told me that I failed to get students to stop playing on their cell phones in class when they should have been paying attention. Also, around that time, I made another mistake. I told the students that they should imagine that they have a personal assistant, as in they were wealthy, unable to afford a personal assistant. I can't remember exactly why I said that. Maybe I thought that would be nice to envision yourself with a personal assistant. To think about that. There was a lady who worked at my school watching me at the time, and she was wondering why I was talking about the students having personal assistants, since they would have no idea what it would be like to have a personal assistant. Some of the students were young adults. They didn't have their own houses or personal assistants. So I had my evaluation. They told me that they were going to reduce the number of courses I would be teaching from 4 to 1. The lady who was evaluating me, I found difficult to understand what she was saying, but I know the personal assistant thing did pop up. So then it was a new semester, and I was teaching one course, and I had a lot of free time and was able to prepare well for this class. Not to say I had an excuse for not reading those books in the previous semester, but I think you know what I mean. I enjoyed teaching, and I think my students learned a lot and generally enjoyed my classes. Unfortunately, nobody observed my class, so they were unable to see that I fixed my shortcomings from last semester. Excuse me. At the end of the semester, I got an email from management, I think, saying that they owed another instructor more teaching hours, so they weren't going to have any teaching hours for me the next semester. That was really bad. Soon after that, I started applying for jobs overseas. I got rejected from a teaching job, teaching English in Korea, but I landed a job in China as an English teacher. I think I covered this in another video, but some people may not have seen that video. Feel free to turn off the video now, as I will probably be repeating myself. After this, I'm going to talk about my current job, and I talk about that in nearly every video, so it was enjoyable to see my students learning English. However, what wasn't fun was dealing with students misbehaving. I was teaching children. I remember one day I had been smoking cigarettes, and I was feeling the withdrawal because I hadn't smoked a cigarette in a while, and it was starting to make me angry. And one thing that some teachers will tell you is that you should show discipline in your classes from day one, so that the students know their boundaries early. It sets the tone for the rest of the semester. So then there were students screwing around. On my first day, I was feeling withdrawal from the cigarettes, although I don't blame the cigarettes rather. And I just snapped and yelled at a student. I felt bad about that, but again, it was my fault, not the cigarettes. I remember in one of my classes we were teaching the students the word ugly. I told them to draw something ugly, and the student started drawing a picture of my assistant teacher. It was kind of funny actually, because she was actually very good looking, so she didn't take it personally. She just kind of smiled and stuff. I love the food in China. I was in the Sichuan province, and the food is known for being very spicy there. My favorite dish was cold noodles. Cold noodles were often served at room temperature, even though they were called cold noodles. But they were spicy and oily, and so good. I was in Thailand when COVID was going strong. I was there on vacation from my English teaching job in China. I was offered another teaching job in China, but I couldn't get into China to start my job, as China made it so you couldn't fly into China. So I came back home and got a job at a grocery store, hardware store. That was okay. It was so busy. You were expected to be fast in bagging customers' groceries and entering their orders into the computer. But of course you were expected to make very little mistakes. I remember this one time I was doing a customer's order, and I didn't use the credit card machine properly. And the customer walked out of the store, and he hadn't paid 1 cent for his order. So I ran outside to try to catch him before he left. Luckily, he was in his vehicle using his phone in the parking lot while his car was parked. I got him to come back inside him, and I got the payment from him. So sometimes I do get lucky. Now I work at a resort as a front desk agent. The job I have has its highs and its lows. There are a lot of things you can do wrong at that job. It's pretty complicated. For instance, if a guest wants to upgrade his room, you need to know how much to charge him, and you need to know how to change it on the reservation on the computer. You have to know what buttons to press. You have to remember stuff like specials that are only available on weekdays, not weekends, and more. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in watching a video where I talk more about my life, you can check out the video on the screen. So, bye for now.